Welcome back to JumpStart Sports Show. My name's Jason Kopp. I'm one of your co-hosts. Sometimes I'm esteemed, sometimes I'm just a little weird. It's November 18th. Friday, November 18th. It's a little chilly. I'm cold. Sweatshirt weather. Best
Coffee
time to
weather.
wear a regular sweater. It's all the time.
I'm Steven Shoemaker, by the way.
Oh yeah, and I'm here with Steven Shoemaker. Let's give it up for Steven Shoemaker. Alexa, clap.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like that. I didn't know she could actually do that.
Oh. Let's leave Alexa out of this
Alexa,
one.
please stop. Oh my God. Alexa, what do we talk about? Stop.
See, I have an Alexa too, so it's hearing you on my end. Do you ever have it when you're on like social media and they have one of those? One of those things where those people say Alexa and play this game, and then my Alexa's listening, and she's listening right now. She probably documents all the weird shit I say and do, and kind of hold it against me one day. But anyways,
shout
let's
out
talk
to Amazon.
some football.
Yeah, let's talk some football. Oh, I guess we can shout out Amazon for another. Actually, this game wasn't as bad. I feel like the Thursday night game. It was low scoring in the first half, and so it seemed like it was another one that was just terrible. But it actually was like a pretty interesting game. I feel like for the most part.
I think it's so funny, like in terms of fantasy, just how much I get screwed over at times with like last weekend playing Ryan, who doesn't have the best team, but Aaron Jones pops off, which he usually always does for some reason against Dallas.
Yeah,
and then this week against the Titans, he didn't really do much.
They have a really good run defense.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't worried about Aaron Jones again, like because I'm playing Ryan this week. I wasn't really worried about Aaron Jones in the run game, but like he also got 7 targets again.
Yeah, he had a lot of check downs, and the Packers receivers just couldn't haul that ball in. I guess Christian Watson is now Aaron Rodgers' favorite target with 2 touchdowns in back-to-back games.
He has 5 in 2 games in the span of 5 days.
5, 3 last week, 2 this week.
So in 5 days, he has more touchdowns than DJ Moore has ever had in one season.
Yeah,
let's just throw that in perspective. Do you think this means anything for either side?
I think it's interesting to look back on their draft and just how once they lost Devontae, they were like, who's going to get the ball now? And I think Allen Lazard is good, and he's their wide receiver 1, but he had big shoes to step into, and people with his injuries and stuff couldn't expect him to be Devontae Adams-esque, which he is not in any way. So we knew that they wanted a wide receiver, and I'm pretty sure by the first round, all the good receivers were taken. So the Packers didn't really have much room to work with. And then the second round, they take Christian Watson, who's kind of been their deep ball guy, and it's paid off for them so far because that's what Rodgers needed. They're not looking too good at 4-7. I don't think they'll be a playoff team this year. They still need a lot more pieces to help Rodgers out. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, I think, is arguably the best 1-2 punch in the game right now. But they definitely need more weapons in terms of receivers because they did not look too great last night.
Yeah, I read something today that is like, you think about how much the Packers are hurting without Devontae Adams, who had like a 30% target share for the past 3 years straight. But then you think about the Raiders, who have Devontae Adams. Imagine if they didn't get Devontae Adams, where they would sit right now. Like, that would be ugly.
I'd be curious to see a list of free agent receivers next year and see if the Packers really try to go after someone, because I don't think they're really interested in going for OBJ. I think he'll probably land in Buffalo or Dallas. That would be my guess.
The Giants.
But maybe the Giants.
Home,
that'd be pretty cool if he went back home. But I just don't think they'll take a chance on him with his injury past, and he's just getting older. He still probably has some left in the tank, but to help a quarterback out of Aaron Rodgers' caliber, you need to get a good stud receiver. So I think that kind of should be where their focus should be come the offseason, especially if they don't make the playoffs.
If I remember right, I think I've actually looked at this of like just who would be available because the Giants also need a receiver badly. I don't think there are actually any good receivers on the market. Like I think Juju is the best one, if I recall correctly.
DJ Moore.
No, DJ Moore signed an extension.
He did. Okay.
I think if I recall correctly, Juju is the best receiver that will be on the market. That's not to say that nothing can happen. Like the Packers, the issue is the Packers are very conservative in their approach. Obviously, they've never drafted a first round receiver for Rodgers. And they've been hesitant to make moves to acquire like star players like that. They don't really do that. You don't really see the Packers ever do that. But that's not to say there isn't going to be more movement. This offseason was like the craziest one in recent memory, with Tyreek leaving, Devontae Adams leaving. Like it was a lot of movement. Amari Cooper got traded for a fifth. That was embarrassing. So I'm sure something will happen. I just feel like the Packers won't be a part of it. I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers will stick around.
Yeah, you mentioned Amari Cooper too. Like he's been kind of streaky, and a lot of that probably has to do with the quarterback play. So once Deshaun returns, I believe next week, right? It'll be interesting.
Week 13.
So week 13, so 2 weeks from now, week after Thanksgiving. It'll be interesting to see if that helps him out much, which I'm really curious to see. I mean,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
I think a lot of people out there want to see Deshaun Watson get his face thrown into the dirt.
Me.
But it'll be interesting to see how they do, because the Browns are not looking too great. Nick Chubb's kind of holding that offense together.
Yeah. Them losing to the Steelers might have really screwed their playoff chances. Like even when Deshaun gets back, they already could. I don't know what their schedule is the next 2 weeks, but they could be already eliminated.
Yeah. So why don't we look at this upcoming slate, and then we can kind of go into just some news that's kind of been going on. We'll talk about. We could talk about like from the last week, but just looking at some of the top games from coming up this week. And I feel like there's not a whole lot, but the Bills one's definitely interesting, playing the Browns.
I wish so bad that was a snow game.
Yeah,
I know they can't do it, but
that would have been a sick game, and it really could have just changed the outcome of it, because in a snow game like that, you're running the football, so they're giving that ball to Nick Chubb a lot. But now that the game's moved to Detroit, and the Bills surprisingly dropped 2 straight, which arguably that was the game of the year last week with that Justin Jefferson performance.
Insane.
But the Bills, what do you make of the Bills right now and their recent slumps?
Yeah, I wonder how much Josh Allen's actually hurt. I feel like that's been pretty downplayed. I mean, he did play very well last week, but you could see like they gave Singletary the ball more like on the goal line. I feel like they usually just let Josh Allen run it right up the middle. So that was a little bit different. Last week was insane. But he's made some really bad plays. The fumble, I don't really think that's necessarily his fault. That was just a mishap. It happens. It was really fortunate for the Vikings. But the interception, like in the end zone, and he's thrown the most interceptions in the NFL actually this year. He's got to be better about that.
Yeah.
Like, with that said, I think that the changing of the location completely shifted the odds of this game. I totally agree. I think, if you remember Shady McCoy just absolutely thrashing the Colts a few years ago, I think it was 2016. Maybe 2018 against it was the Bills Colts, and it was such a cool game to watch. Shady,
he's the snow guy, because I was at the game. I was at the game too in Philly when they played the Lions in the snowball, and he popped off in that game too. So
it was awesome. But I feel like Nick Chubb similarly, like, you need a really good run game at those points, and Singletary kind of sucks in my opinion. And I don't think that James Cook is there yet. I think he will be at some point, but he's not there yet. And Nyheim Hines is fine, but he's not a good runner. I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt would have had their way. And now that it's indoor, totally different game. Also, could we just discuss Amari Cooper's splits? I don't know if you've seen this. It's not indoor. At home versus away games is like insanity. Even this year, he pops off at home, and then he just sucks every away game. It's so weird. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and the Bills have a pretty solid defense, so I think they're pretty pissed off losing 2 games in a row, and like you said, playing indoors changes everything, so
Mhm.
this is their home game for them, and then the funny thing is next week they're once again playing the Lions, so who knows what'll happen, but assuming your Giants kind of beat up on the Lions this week, and that would make them what 8-2, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How this
Wild.
NFC East has been going.
Mhm.
I think the Bills will be fine this week.
I think it should be fine too.
What do you make of the NFC East? Like this it's just so crazy to me how like the Eagles have been running away with this season so far, but the people are just like sleeping on the fact that the Giants, regardless of what you want to say about their schedule, are 7-2, have a favorable matchup at home this week against the Lions, and just how great Saquon's been. And you could make the argument that he deserves comeback player of the year, but I think right now it's probably Gino who's leading the way.
I'm pretty sure it's them both.
Yeah, so it'll be one of the two of them. And Gino's been playing pretty well. And then Dallas is just hanging right there with us too. And that's probably the game of the week, I'd say, is the Cowboys Vikings this week. Two big teams. They're
Huge game.
like Vikings only have 1 loss. Cowboys have what, 2 losses or something?
They have 3, I believe.
They have 3 now. So it's gonna be a fun matchup.
I think they have 3. I'm pretty sure because if they lose this week, that's great for both the Giants and the Eagles. Because if the Giants win this week, we'll be 1 more game up on the Cowboys, who technically would have the tiebreak against us right now.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys are favored 1.5, something like that, to win on the road against the Vikings, which is interesting. I think JJ's nursing a toe injury. Is that right?
Yeah, he said he was fine. I mean, in fairness, like he had 16 targets last week. He was the entire offense, more or less. I mean, Hawkinson's really played well too. Give him credit, but
yeah, that still blows my mind.
that Hawkinson trade,
yeah, huge addition for the Vikings.
Yeah,
one of the favorites, but I think depending on how well Jonathan Taylor plays, the Eagles should get back in the win column, and we'd be 9-1. And if the Giants, I think the Giants are going to have their hands full. I think they'll probably win, but I think they're not going to have their way with the Lions because they're decent.
Yeah, the Lions are one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL, surprisingly. That's part because of how bad their defense is, but they can definitely stay in games. Like they're a competitive team.
And it's funny, even the Commanders play the Texans this week, and they'll get, if they take care of them, they'll be 6-5, and that's
nuts.
Right with more than half the teams in the NFC East.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, dude. The Eagles, their biggest deficiency, which was really obvious after the Texans game specifically, when Dameon Pierce rushed 139 yards, like he rushed all over them, and then like since Jordan Davis is out, like they're really susceptible to the run. Brian Robinson did the same thing. Brian Robinson's been terrible and inefficient all year. Awesome comeback story, but he hasn't been good, and he ran all over them. Putting Linval Joseph, signing him in, and Ndamukong Suh, like that's a big upgrade.
Yeah,
I don't know how much it'll show up this week. I don't know how, because they'll, this will be their first week getting integrated in the offense or defense rather. But that's a big addition to like rotate in with Jordan Davis when he does come back from injury. It'll be interesting for sure. And then in terms of the Giants, like I think you can't really just take something I really enjoy about this team is like Brian Daboll coaches it where they don't take any team for granted. Like even the teams that they should just blow them out. Like any given week, anything can happen in the NFL. We've seen like with the Colts beat the Chiefs, like anything can happen, right? So I think that it's good that they don't take any team for granted. I think the Giants will run all over them in terms of running. Pass offense is a little different. I don't really know who the hell steps up. And then our defense just needs to contain Amon-Ra St. Brown. And we have to do better in the run game also because we're also really bad with run defense.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think for Coach of the Year right now, Nick Sirianni's up there as the favorite.
Is he?
I would think
Okay.
Mike Zimmer's been doing a great job with the Vikings, but Brian Dable's definitely up there too. Just the job that he's been
Mike
doing.
Zimmer's not on the Vikings.
He's
anymore.
not their head coach anymore.
No, it's Kevin. It's wow, I almost said Kevin Stefanski, who's the who was on the Vikings, now Browns. It's Kevin O'Connell.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought it was Mike Zimmer because I know his son recently passed away, and he was
He used to be the head coach.
Okay.
And then Kevin O'Connell came in from the Rams this year, and then
that helps his case even more though. But yeah, and speaking of the Rams, like, what do you make of them right now? Because you would think it'd be an appetizing matchup to watch with them on the road against the Saints, but both those teams just look terrible. With the Saints losing last week to the Steelers, and now without Cooper Kupp and Stafford, it's just like, what do you make of the Rams? Like, their playoff hopes are looking slimmer and slimmer. And you brought this up in past podcasts about the team after winning the Super Bowl just seems to kind of fall off the next season.
It seems like that for all of the teams. Yeah, I was making the point, like, all the playoff teams like really have been horrible. Like since the Super Bowl, the Bengals haven't been that good either.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the Rams, like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. I think they made a mistake giving Allen Robinson that big of a contract.
Oh yeah,
that was mistake one because he got a 3-year deal. Cooper Kupp has like a 35% target share in that offense, and him being gone, and as Matt Stafford's like security blanket, they're gonna have to find ways to generate offense because Cam Akers isn't doing anything. Darrell Henderson is barely doing anything.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams, who they drafted in the 5th round this past year out of Notre Dame, hasn't done anything. He was on IR, but he's coming back, and we'll see how that goes. Like, they have Ben Skoranek, who's fine. Van Jefferson is just a deep threat. And then Allen Robinson and then Tyler Higbee. And it's like, I don't know how they win games. Like, they look so bad.
Yeah.
And then it also begs the question, now that Cooper Kupp's on IR, they're probably going to lose 3 out of the next 4 games. Probably. Does he not come back? Is it smarter to keep him out? Probably, right? Like,
yeah, especially if they just don't have a shot at like the playoffs with how they do it. You don't want to rush back your star player if it's not necessary. I think if anything, it makes more sense to bring OBJ back, but I think he just wants to go to a team that's going to win, and probably going to the Rams doesn't make sense.
If they were in contention again, I do think he would have gone there because they also have one of the best medical staffs in the country. But I don't think he goes there now. That's for sure. I think for him, obviously I'm biased. Like, I would really like him to come back. I think that'd be cool. A really cool story, especially if he can play well. Like, we don't have receivers right now who can really do anything. But I mean, if I'm him, I'm probably looking at the Cowboys. I probably want to be in a warm weather place, right? Like, it's his 3rd ACL tear. Or like what was the other place that he was thinking?
Buffalo, Dallas.
Oh yeah, I guess Buffalo would be another one, but like, I don't really know how he would fit in that offense. I guess he could be the slot receiver.
Slot receiver, yeah. But, that cold weather that's not good for his fragile bones.
Right, exactly. No, honestly, like that's definitely true. So I could definitely see him go. It would really be a bummer to see him go to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That would really not, like, I would hate that. They need receiver help too, though. Like, Michael Gallup's been okay since coming off the ACL. And then their what was it, 3rd or 4th round pick, Jalen Tolbert, has been terrible.
Yeah.
He doesn't even play. CD. That's all they got, though.
Popped off last week.
Yeah, now they got Zeke coming back, so I'm sure he'll get the majority of the work, despite Tony Pollard being a better running back. That team is a weird team, but their defense is so good.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, not too many appetizing games this week. I mean, I think the Bears on the road after blowing it last week, I could see them and just how crazy Justin Fields has been popping off.
Yeah.
He should take care of the Falcons on the road, but
so let's talk about that. Do you think, like, I just think the opening question is Justin Fields for real? Like, he has obviously gone on a tear. We've been critical of him on this show, especially like in the beginning of this year. He wasn't great. But he has, I think, 147 rushing yards in both the last 2 games, around that.
He's been
Like, what do you make
so
of that?
yeah. I mean, he's been so great fantasy wise just because of his legs and how
Mhm.
he's getting rushing yards and touchdowns. But I said this from the get go. I don't know if I'd say that he deserved to be over Trevor Lawrence just because of how undefeated and great he was with Clemson. But
Yeah.
I thought if you're gonna put anybody under Trevor Lawrence,
Yep.
that it should have been Justin Fields. I think
Yep.
the Jets
That's the
made it.
same thing.
I'm not saying Zach Wilson's a bad quarterback, and he's
I
been
am.
doing pretty solid this year, but I think the Jets are going to regret not taking Justin Fields and just the playmaking abilities that he's able to make. And I told you this before. You put him under Patty Mahomes, like if Patty Mahomes got injured and you put him in that offense or just any other like high flying offense, he's throwing for more than 250 yards a game. The Bears do not have receivers for him to throw to. Like Darnell Mooney's really it, and even he's like not
He's like fine.
anything special. Cole Kmet's been his like go-to target, just a big tight end in the red zone, but he just doesn't. They don't have a great offense. Like not a team I would want to play quarterback for, but he's making the most of a shitty situation and he's playing really well. And unless you know there was like maybe 3 weeks ago, all these reporters and analysts were talking about how Justin Fields might not be the real deal. He might not be the quarterback to build around, but it's really just he is though, and he's proven that these past couple weeks. So either the Bears build around him in the future and bring guys in and make trades, or if I'm him, I want out of there. I want out of Chicago. I don't want to have anything to do with them, and I want to go to a team where I can really be utilized. So if he keeps playing the way he does, and I don't see why he won't have another solid week against the Falcons, I think that answers your question. He's proven he's the guy.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. We talked about it during that draft. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was seen as like the next Andrew Luck. Like he was like the most sure thing. So since Andrew Luck, so of course he was first. But yeah, I said the same thing even then. I was like, I don't really get why Zach Wilson was the de facto number 2 when he was at BYU and didn't really prove anything except that he has some arm talent.
Mm-hmm.
Because Justin Fields like was that guy. So I didn't really understand that then. Um, I'm really happy for him that he's like showing his stuff now. Like credit to Matt Eberflus, who's the head coach for the Bears. I know that head coach and their offensive coordinators watched actually a lot of different offenses and schemes like to put around Justin Fields. So similar to like how they watched Lamar Jackson and other running quarterbacks as well to see how that they could exploit defenses and stuff. And then they started implementing it right off the bye. And then, I mean, he just took off. Like, he's a really special talent. I think it took a little while, and the Bears are a dysfunctional franchise. So, of course, it did. They need to put protection around him because it's a disaster and offensive talent. We'll see what Chase Claypool brings, but, like, I don't know. He's like fine.
Not much.
Yeah, he's fine. But yeah, I think he's the real deal. And I think he's going to torch the Falcons, who are very, very bad defense and offense. They're a terrible team. I hate watching them.
Yeah, and this is a team. A lot of people have been talking about. A lot of analysts talk about Kyle Pitts. And
yes,
what do you make of that situation? Like, you use your 4th overall pick on a big, threatening tight end out of Florida, supposed to be really your number 1 target, and week in and week out, he's doing absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if that's because Marcus Mariota, who always had a great connection with Delaney Walker back in his Tennessee days, but he just doesn't have that connection with him. It seems they're a run-first team with Mariota and Cordero, who did nothing last week. I believe that was the Thursday night game.
Yeah, it was against the Panthers.
Against the Panthers, yeah.
I need to pull up this tweet. This is
But yeah, what after you talk about that, like, what do you make of that situation? Like, if you put Kyle Pitts on like Green Bay, for example, is Aaron Rodgers exploiting that every game, or is it like coaching? Is it Marcus Mariota? Is it something on Kyle Pitts' end? Like, It makes you like not even want to target him as a tight end in
Yeah,
fantasy. in the
totally.
future.
And I have him this year, and it's incredibly frustrating. He's borderline not playable. But like again, because he's so unbelievably good, you're just hoping one of these weeks it clicks. So I'm going to give a shout out to Dove Kleiman. I'm taking this right off his Twitter because I saw this posted earlier. He said, in case you're wondering why Kyle Pitts hasn't delivered for your fantasy team, it's not only that he's not getting targeted, and I think that is Arthur Smith's fault.
Mhm.
It's also because when Marcus Mariota does target him, it's often inaccurate. Pitts has only 2 drops this season, but still has only a 47% catch rate, which means, like, you have to understand, and I think I texted Russo about this. Kyle Pitts has the longest wingspan in NFL history.
That's
How on earth do you miss a 6'6" tight end who runs 4.4 speed with the longest wingspan ever and miss him 42% of the time? Like, I wonder what his percentage of uncatchable balls is. It's probably so high. I think it's a Marcus Mariota problem most, because I don't think that Marcus Mariota is a good quarterback. He's a good runner for sure, and somehow keeps them in games. But like, this team is so horrible to watch. Like, I hate it.
And the funny thing about it is, like, other than dump offs to Cordero and Drake London, who's just a rook, like, they have nobody on that offense. Literally, literally nobody. So, like, if I'm a Falcons fan going into this week against the Bears, I want to see 15 to 20 targets to Kyle Pitts, even if he only gets 2 catches. Like, just keep feeding him the ball, and if it doesn't work out, like, it doesn't work out. And I think that definitely plays a factor into it as well. Like, defenses are probably like, double covering him or just keeping a close eye on him, because other than Drake London, there's nobody else to really get the ball to. There's nobody that you're scared of. So
Yeah, I just think it's a mix. Like, there are ways to scheme open, but like, if you don't have the wherewithal to do that, like, you won't be able to give him the ball. But then also, I watched on Thursday Night Football when we were like texting about Kyle Pitts. I watched him on a slant be wide open and Mariota throw over his head. Again, the largest wingspan in history for a 6'6" tight end. How is that possible? Just throw it in the vicinity. Like, I don't get it. Tight end screen will do it. Like, Jesus Christ, he's a 4.4 speed athlete. How do you not get him the ball?
You know what, Jay? I think I heard Arthur Smith was tuning into our podcast.
Oh, yeah?
And I think a big game this week out of Kyle Pitts. I say you put him in your tight end 1 slot right now, lock it in. You won't regret it.
I don't have a choice, so he is playing for me. Yeah, I don't really have a choice. What am I going to do? Pick up Greg Dulcich again, watch him get up 1.4 points?
Well, Goddard's out for a while, so you could pick up
yeah, I could
whoever our backup tight end is.
Right?
I don't even know who
Jack
it is.
Stoll, I think.
Brent Selleck.
Why don't you guys call up Gronkowski?
Yeah, I might have to.
I've actually seen that all over, like the news outlets. I'm sure he has. Look, how they know how to build winners. So I'll give it to them. Yeah. I hate the Eagles, but like, they do know how to build winners.
Sorry, say that one more time.
I hate the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So the Falcons are really frustrating. I think the funniest part about the Falcons is they're too good to get like a top quarterback. Like, their defense has played too well where they will not be the 1 pick. And I'm sure they came into this year like, Marcus Mariota is going to suck. We're not. The weird thing actually is they draft Desmond Ridder, right, out of where is he from? I can't think of it. It's the same school as Sauce Gardner.
Where did Sauce go to school? Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, yes. So out of Cincinnati, I think he was a 2nd-round pick. And they haven't used him at all, which I think is really weird. And he's a very accurate quarterback.
I saw a bunch of tweets last week about as decent as Mariota played, about giving Desmond Ridder a shot.
The reporters asked Arthur Smith, and point blank, he said no.
Yeah, that NFC South is interesting though, because the Saints are 3-7, who I thought were going to be solid this year, but without
I
James,
didn't think so.
without Jameis and Michael Thomas, they're kind of
They're
irrelevant.
atrocious.
Panthers are irrelevant. They're going to get smoked by the Ravens this week.
Yes.
The Falcons really aren't there, and like even the Bucks, who are 5-5 and they're not scary. Shout out to Tom Brady, who's been undefeated since his divorce.
Thank you. I'm so glad you said that.
But yeah, the Bucks will probably run away with that division, and then that's going to be an interesting outcome because I think that whoever does not win the NFC East, I could see some type of scenario where in the first round the Cowboys or the Giants would have to play them in the wild card game.
Yep.
And then that would
Who
be an
gets
interesting
home field
game.
advantage? It would be the Bucks, right? Because they're
yeah,
technically division winners.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened to us last year. Bucks won the division. We played them in the first round. I watched at your apartment, and we know the rest of the story.
Yes. Yeah.
A
little clap action.
Yeah, very different story this year, though. But
they don't look near the same.
No, very different.
It'll be. We'll have to see what happens. Like I mean, I actually think the Giants would have a chance with how the Bucks have played this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if the Panthers somehow pull out and become the 1 seed, which they can do because they technically have the tie break on Tampa Bay right now? Like that'd be crazy.
No, I can't imagine that.
Baker leading them to the promised land.
Yeah, I mean, he's back under center this week, but I think the Ravens will spank them.
Yeah.
Another interesting matchup at the beginning of the year. Raiders at Broncos. You thought that would be an appetizing matchup, and yet they're two of the worst teams in the league at the bottom of their divisions. Derek Carr looks terrible. Russell Wilson looks terrible. Darren Waller has been non-existent. It's really the IR. Hunter Renfro's on IR. It's really the Devontae Adams show, and somehow Josh Jacobs has been playing really well.
Dude.
So don't be surprised if this is like a 12-9 game in favor of like the Raiders or something. But
this is going to be a horrible game, and I will not watch a lick of it. I don't care. We were so off, right? Like, I mean, everyone was. Can you imagine? Like, they got worse. The Broncos got worse with Russell Wilson. How is it possible? They had Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Javonte going down didn't help them.
No, that was a huge L. And Melvin, but like I think Nathaniel Hackett's way in over his head. I think he's one of the worst coaches I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And now Judy's down for at least this week, probably. We'll see, dude. It's gross. Like Cortland Sutton probably will do well because the Raiders don't have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
But like, can you imagine Chandler Jones? I'm pretty sure only has like 1 sack this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like other side of Max Crosby, and he only has 1 sack. Like it's just so pathetic.
Yeah, we really missed on the AFC West, that's for sure. And then even like my pick at the beginning of the year, I said the Chargers are gonna get to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And they're sitting at 5-4. They're not looking too great, and they have Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs at home.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs will probably pick them apart with how their offense has been chugging along.
Juju just got ruled out.
Yeah, I mean, I figured.
Yeah, after that hit, you saw that hit, right? Yeah, he just got knocked out. I mean, makes sense. And then they'll also be without Mecole Hardman, who was also put on IR. Mm-hmm. But as the Chiefs do, I'm sure they will be fine.
For my just like thinking about my fantasy team, how like weird is the whole running situation in Kansas City with how Clyde Edwards-Helaire was used a lot in the beginning of the season, and then just kind of, I don't really even know the story, but out of nowhere he just stopped being used, and now it's just kind of like there's not even a run game. Like they use Isaiah Pacheco, but like Pacheco, whatever it is, but other than him, it's really just a passing game for the Chiefs, and I think that could maybe potentially hurt them down the road.
Yeah, I think the issue is like Clyde is so bad. like that was a huge miss by them, especially if you think of just like all the running back talent who they passed up on. Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift,
There
Cam
was
Akers.
definitely a big miss, and I think it's just how like you have to really analyze a running back in college, because
Yes.
if you look at that system when they had like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow, like of course Clyde was going to play well.
Yep.
But I don't know. I know you and I are definitely not touching him in the years.
No. I've been off of Clyde for a long time. He was one of the like I thought like a very obvious like you sell him when he was playing. He just like kept scoring. Like he in his career he's been historically inefficient. And like he was just so efficient on like he would get like a random screenplay where he usually would get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. I know that because I took him in my first round pick when he was a rookie. Stupid Jason. And he sucks. Like he's really bad. And he just kept scoring in the beginning of this year. Isaiah Pacheco is so average. Like he's a 7th round rookie out of Rutgers. You know what I mean? Like, but he looks like he's got some juice, I guess. I don't like Jerick McKinnon, I think, led the team in targets last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any interest in that backfield. Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes, but like their run game, it's just crazy how bad the run game has been since Kareem Hunt was cut. Like, I know it was a different time period, but like since that moment, they have not had a run game. And they don't need one. They will win anyway.
I know they're on bye this week, but what do you make of the Dolphins? Like, do you think they can make some noise in the playoffs? Because like Tyreek Hill's been unstoppable. Jalen Waddle's been kind of like contained, but he's such a threat too. And then
I do think
Tua's really been stepping it up since his head went from being made of plastic to now it's I guess made of metal. But
I mean, it was really funny to watch that first game back because Tua, you saw him like running, looking for contact, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, no. Because like that was a really scary scenario where like and I'm sure the Dolphins will get investigated. Or did they? I don't remember. I think they got investigated.
I think
because he got 2 concussions in the span of a week, which can kill you. Obviously he suffered some kind of brain trauma with his fingers like spazzing like they were. He's played unbelievable since coming back. He's really, really played so well this year. And dude. I mean, Terran Armstead protecting his left side. Obviously it's not his blind side, but like Terran Armstead is huge. They really upgraded the O-line. Jeff Wilson has stepped in immediately as the starter, which is kind of interesting. But like I guess with that San Francisco connection makes sense for Mike McDaniel. He's gotten the most out of Raheem Mostert too. I don't know. I think they'll make noise. Like their defense with Bradley Chubb now, not a defense I'd want to see with Xavier Howard. I'm sure I don't think Byron Jones has been healthy this year, but like Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips coming off the edge, like they've got some dudes on that.
They also got what's his name from Chicago? Was it Floyd?
No.
The Eagles got some defenseman from Chicago.
Roquan Smith.
The Eagles Roquan Smith went to the Ravens.
Yeah.
And then the Eagles got Floyd.
They got Robert Quinn.
Robert Quinn, that's it. Okay, I don't know why
he hasn't done anything for the Eagles yet.
I don't know why I thought Roquan went to the Fins. He's on the Ravens.
No, because all those trades happen like in the span of like a week.
But Bradley Chubb was a big acquisition for them.
Big acquisition. I think they can make noise. Dolphins are really interesting. That AFC East is like surprisingly very competitive.
Yeah, and then even another team on the bye week, the Seahawks, have been very surprising with how bad they were. So maybe it really was. I know Russell was hurt, but maybe maybe he's just he's way past. He's out of his prime and just isn't the answer anymore.
I just think it's funny that like they let Geno Smith throw, and he's ridiculously accurate. Like who knew?
Yeah, I mean Lockett's been playing really well this year. And did you see the video where it's probably because he is old, but whenever he goes down, and like DK's been very solid. their running game was like interesting because it was the Rashad Penny show, and he's on the IR now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kenneth Walker just was such a big draft pick for them, and he's been popping off.
It's amazing. Like Rashad Penny is an unbelievable runner, specifically of the football. Had an amazing stretch run last year.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won a lot of people's fantasy championships. And then this year he played really, really well. And then got hurt like he does every single year he gets hurt. And then Kenny Walker, man, dude, like, he's a stud. He got bottled up by the Bucks, but he really is so good at running that ball. Like props to him. Very surprising team. I'm trying to think of there's probably one other.
Well, if you look at the NFC West, it's interesting because that division, like regardless of record, is pretty stacked. Just looking at the teams, like it's no one would have thought the Rams would be at the bottom of that division at 3-6. With Kyler being hurt, the Cardinals on Monday Night Football against the 49ers probably aren't going to win that game. I don't know if Kyler's playing or not, but with Ertz out for the year, that entire football team is DeAndre Hopkins.
Marquise Brown might come back from IR.
Yeah, he might come back. So that could be like big for them. It could be a late run for them. But
they also drafted Trey McBride.
Yeah. But the 49ers are looking pretty solid. I think they'll probably win that Monday night game, and then they'll be all locked up with the Seahawks. So it'll be interesting second half of the season.
That conference is way better than I thought they'd be, and also like really, really competitive. Christian McCaffrey has been so good for the Niners, and the Niners' defense is finally getting a little bit healthy. I think they lost someone to season-ending Achilles tear, also, if I recall, in practice. Tart or someone?
Jaquiski Tart?
Was it?
I don't know.
They lost someone. Jason Verrett, actually. I think it was Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett. Great name.
Jason Cobb?
Love that guy.
Hate him.
No, you don't. Oh, yeah, he tore his Achilles. So it's Jason Verrett. Wow, that's brutal. Besides from him, like they're getting healthy. They're a good team. They're a really good defense too. Okay, so let's talk about this as well. The Colts, who have been dog shit, is probably the correct right way to say it. Sam Ehlinger was a huge disaster, as expected, because he sucks, and he sucked at Texas, and he sucks here. That was expected. Frank Reich getting fired, putting in Jeff Saturday as an interim head coach was very strange. Never seen before. He was an ESPN analyst. We've talked about that. Him winning is not something I expected.
No, I did not either.
I was very shocked. I guess, in fairness, the Raiders are also dog shit. Eagles are a tough test. Their one issue, run defense. And Jonathan Taylor, as he proved last week, it looks like he's back. Do you think it's here to stay? Because I do think that it's not a coincidence that the O-line playing better, Jeff Saturday being a all-pro center for multiple years. I think that part of the team, that makes a big difference where they were at.
It's interesting to think about for fantasy next year too, but my answer is no to your question. I think he'll be fine. But if I'm the Colts, I don't know what that contract was with Matt Ryan, but if I'm the Colts, I am making Ryan a backup or I'm getting rid of him. I don't know if tank is the right word, but like since they're just not a good team, I would do everything I could to get a top pick, maybe trade up and try to get CJ Stroud or somebody like that and put a solid up and coming young guy under center with a healthy Jonathan Taylor next year. Like he's had injuries this year. So like no need to like be giving him 30 carries a game just to prove that he's good. Like the Colts are, what's their record?
I want to say 3-6-1, but
something like that. They're not good.
They're 3-5-1.
Yeah.
No, wait.
They're 3-5-1.
Is that right?
No.
4-5-1. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
4-5-1, which is surprising because they're like still in it. But if you look at the schedule, and obviously trying not to be, obviously I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm going to root for them. But like, if I wasn't, I still would think the Eagles, after last week and after AJ Brown just getting one catch, like I think they're going to just target him as much as possible and beat the Colts on the road. And then they play Monday Night Football against the Steelers, which like they could win that game, but you never know. Then they play Dallas, who they'll lose to. They play Minnesota, who they'll lose to. They play the Chargers, who they'll lose to.
I don't know if they'll lose to the Chargers.
I think they will.
They looked so bad.
That's Christmas Day or day after Christmas.
Which one is?
The Chargers game at home. And then they play the Giants, which like they should probably lose that game. And then at that point, they'll probably be eliminated. The last game of the year, they play the Colts. I mean, they play the Texans.
But that one doesn't matter.
Exactly. So
yeah, it's a tough end of the year for sure.
In my opinion, I just feel like they shouldn't like force the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Like Michael Pittman wasn't didn't have the outcome that we were hoping for with him.
He's gotten the targets, but the yardage has been bad, and the touchdowns really haven't been there.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That's if I'm the Colts, like that's what I'm doing. Like their quarterback play has been atrocious this year, so you gotta find somebody else, not an old guy like Matt Ryan, who probably should hang it up at some point. So we'll see. But yeah, the firing was interesting, and like I know a lot of people were
very critical
of Jeff Saturday, just like bringing in an analyst just like that, and he obviously he's very close to the Colts organization, having played there with Peyton for so many years. And then he comes in and wins his first game, but we'll just kind of have to see what ends up happening with that. But that was definitely just like a very, very interesting move, bringing him in as the head coach, and didn't he bring in another young coach as well to help out?
It's his offensive coordinator. I forget his name. He's also like 40, I think.
I thought he was a young guy that they brought in, but either way. Will he be their head coach next year? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, but I guess it just kind of depends on how he does for the rest of the year.
Let's see. Yeah, they fired Marcus Brady. Okay, this is honestly, I don't like that it hasn't even come up, so I'm gonna give up. But they hired someone. I know that. That's what matters. No, but all right. Why don't we just give a quick game by game preview of just how we think it'll go? We could tie a bow on it, give it a little kiss.
Then we already did that. I think we already did that.
Did we? No, we didn't pick a winner.
Oh, well, I did in my head.
Oh, who'd you give?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
I bet.
Right. Who do you think wins Titans?
I think the Titans will beat the Packers.
Oh, I'm thinking the Titans beat the Packers 27-17.
Okay. I could get behind that.
Right. I think Derrick Henry will rush one and throw one touchdown.
Thank God he didn't get me another 8-point week, or I was gonna go crazy.
Oh, you should have traded me him. I was giving you the fairest deal there is.
Yeah, our fans out there. Jay offered me Damian Pierce and Josh Palmer for Derrick Henry, and
makes sense to me.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Okay, so Chicago, Atlanta. I really do think that could go either way.
I think Chicago will win.
I hope they win. I don't think Falcons deserve to win. I just think that they should lose every game. I think they're so bad. Cleveland, Buffalo, now that it's moved. Did you actually see this? I saw that there's a possibility it won't even get played.
I saw that too, but I think it will.
Like, because the Bills haven't been able to practice and they're stuck. If they can't get out, I mean, that's possible.
And like wait for it to blow over and then move it to like Tuesday or something. But
they have to.
So they'll get the game in. They'll play at some point. But
Yeah.
pretty crazy how, at least in Philly, it was 75 degrees last week, and now Buffalo's getting 4 to 6 feet of snow.
That's so whack. Yeah, it's been freezing here though. I don't know if it's there. I'm sure it's around the same. It's like 30 right here.
Maybe move to Philly and see how it is. It's a little warmer here.
Enemy territory, bro. Are you coming this weekend or what? What's the deal?
No, I'm gonna stay as far away from you as possible.
You don't mean it. You want to hold hands as the Eagles lose again.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I don't know how you really go against them. I think the Bills are going to kill them now that they're indoor.
Yeah, they need a win after dropping 2 straight. Put forth their dominance once again.
Eagles, Colts. Got to give it to the Colts.
I understand. I think the Eagles will have a big bounce back win though.
Jeff Sunday.
No,
I think the Eagles will probably steamroll them. They have a good defense though.
Yeah, it's definitely funny how we like lose to the Commanders of all teams and our run D is a problem, and then we go out and sign 2 guys just like that. So you gotta appreciate it from a fan perspective of a team. Like when you start seeing a lot of negative holes and then you just want to try to fill them as quickly as possible. It's a team that's hungry for wins.
Yeah, I can respect that. I mean, they did it like the next day, so it's definitely needed for them. The Jets and the Patriots, I could see this one going either way.
Didn't the Pats beat them earlier in the year?
Yes, and I'm gonna say, I don't know if you've seen this the coin flip thing, but the coin of the Jets.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
100%. Yeah,
and he has the Patriots winning that game.
He does. So I'm 100% confident the Patriots will win this game.
Okay, I'm going the other way. I think coming off the bye week on the road, I think the Jets will find a way to sneak out another win because I just think the Patriots offense is atrocious.
It is. I just think the Jets offense is also atrocious. Like Garrett Wilson's a stud. They don't even like Elijah Moore.
I feel like Zach Wilson and Mac Jones are the same quarterback.
They are, dude. They're both game managers. I mean, we talked about it before the draft even happened that year, but like, if Garoppolo was not, if they drafted Mac Jones to replace Garoppolo, they would effectively have just replaced Garoppolo with Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt, and I really still feel that way. Okay, this is gonna be these are so bad. The Rams and the Saints.
I think it's like going to be a weird win, like a close game, but I think the Saints will pull it out.
I think the Saints should win. Yeah, I'm going to say the Rams, though. I just feel like Andy Dalton's been so bad. I think he'll get replaced in this game.
Who's the Rams quarterback?
Stafford.
He's back?
Yeah, he's back.
Oh.
I think hot take, Andy Dalton will get replaced in this game by Jameis.
I certainly hope so. But it'll be interesting because John Wolford was not the answer.
God. He was so bad,
and it's just been crazy with what the outcome was with how high people were on Cam Akers this year, and just without Cooper Kupp there, it makes me feel like Allen Robinson has to have a good game, but you can never trust that in this day.
He looks like a dinosaur out there.
Yeah.
That should be our thumbnail for this episode right there. Okay. Detroit Giants. You know, I'll spend much time. We both know the Giants are going to win.
I'm going Detroit.
You're kidding. Take it back.
Expect a big game out of DeAndre Swift.
I was going to say, like, DeAndre Swift, dude, what the fuck is going on with that?
Yeah, he's so like hit or miss, but him and Barkley going head to head, I think that'll be a fun game to watch.
Jamal Williams giving a little twerky twerk. I think the Giants should pull it out, but I think it'll be actually pretty close. Carolina against Baltimore. I mean,
next.
Yeah, next. That one has the highest differential for points. It's like 10.5 right now. Washington, Houston. I'm gonna say Washington. I would have said Houston prior to the Eagles game, I think. But Heineke, there's some magic there.
There is, and I think it's funny because I've been working for them right now, NBC Washington, but it's just funny. It's just funny to me. Like when I came into work on Tuesday, everyone was just like giving me crap for it. They're saying "Bye Eagles, bye," and it's like, cool, you beat us, big win for you guys. It's one game though. You guys are not scary. You have Terry McLaurin, and that's about it. Enjoy the misery that is Carson Wentz. You have an easy matchup against the Texans, and even Ron Rivera said it himself. Like, why was my team celebrating like we just won the Super Bowl when it's just one game and there's more work to be done? They'll probably not make the playoffs, but you never know. We'll see what happens. But they should handle the Texans.
I think Chase Young is coming back this week.
If not this week, next week, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be big for them too. Their D-line is really good. But we'll see. They're really susceptible through the air, but the Texans are so bad at throwing. So, and Brandon Cooks hates his life, so I don't really know how that'll go. Vegas, Denver. I got this. Let me decide. Vegas is heads. Broncos is tails. Alexa, flip a coin.
Okay, flipping.
Tails.
It's heads.
It's heads. All right, the Raiders are gonna win. Surprising.
All right, I'll go with Raiders too.
Okay. Russ is just bad.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say. Their defense is great, but it's wasted again. Cowboys, Minnesota. That also I really do feel like is a toss-up.
Really, the only appealing game, but I think I think I'll probably go with.
They're in Minnesota.
Minnesota in that one.
I'm gonna go Minnesota too.
If Justin Jefferson's healthy.
Yeah.
Not funny. Like Thielen's been non-existent, but
yeah, since Hawkinson's come.
But Dallas has a solid D with Micah Parsons if they're able to contain Dalvin. But if Kirk can play well, like he did last week, I think they should be fine.
Yeah. It'll Trayvon versus Trayvon versus the guy that Diggs was traded for, Justin Jefferson. That'll be an interesting.
I don't think they would put Trayvon on him, but we'll see.
You don't think so? I think he'd shadow if I had to guess.
I mean, like he would probably shadow, but like last week against the Packers, not that Allen Lazard is their best receiver, but like technically he's their wide receiver one, and Trayvon Diggs wasn't guarding him.
That's interesting. Isn't Lazard is in the slot though usually?
He is, I guess. Was he guarding Watson? Because if he was, he got burned 3 times.
So that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
Gets the occasional pick and also gives up the most yardage in the NFL. Okay, so I agree with you though. Minnesota, I think, takes it. Cincy, Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh.
I think it'll be a closer game than people think, but I think Cincy will probably win it.
I think the hot take is I'm going to say the Steelers are going to pull this out.
Okay.
With TJ Watt back, their defense looks a lot better. I don't know why. I don't think it'll be anything Kenny Pickett does, but I think that they're going to win somehow.
Yeah, who knows? The last time the Bengals played was Joe Mixon's 5-touchdown game.
Oh, yeah. And then before that was Cleveland, which was yikes. Kansas City against the Chargers. I think Kansas City is not slowing down.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think Kadarius Toney is going to have a day. I'm going to play him against Ryan.
Why not?
Gotta give the old Giants some love, even though he hates us, which we hate him too. San Francisco Cardinals. I think it'll be more of a game if Kyler plays. If Colt McCoy is starting, it's definitely the Niners. I still think it's the Niners either way, but Kyler starting would make this game, which is in is it the Aztec Stadium Azteca or something in Mexico City.
I think just like with how many options they have with George Kittle and McCaffrey now and Debo, like they just have so many options. So,
this is where it's playing. Estadio Azteca is where
Sounds like this Mexican restaurant back home.
Is it good?
No.
Oh. What's your favorite food?
I think it's called Plaza Azteca.
Yeah. Is it good?
And I usually go to the bathroom, but I think that means it's good.
Mexican food always gets you in the bathroom. It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
of the things. All right. I think that is all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. All 21 of you. But we appreciate your time, your effort, your love. JumpStart Sports Show, episode 34. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell us how handsome we are, even if you want to lie to us.
So next week, episode 35 for KD, the Slim Reaper.
That's right.
Is our 1 year episode, right?
It is our 1 year anniversary.
Right before Thanksgiving, get into the festive spirit.
Aww.
Looking forward to it, Jay.
That's cute, dude. Damn, we have 30. That'll be episode 35. That's pretty crazy. So that's more than one. How many is that? I can't do math. How many weeks were there in a year? Oh, I guess we didn't really get to one a week, huh?
No, we were
52. Wow, we're pretty short. 17.
Here's to 1 year.
All right, well, we did it. L'chaim.
Lachem. JumpStart Sports.
JumpStart Sports.